I just don't know who had a better year than 49ers tight end George Kittle.
Talk about it.
He broke out as a tight end, had an opportunity when things were looking real gloomy for that team. He took advantage of the opportunity. He got engaged. He was at the Super Bowl with sponsorships. Like, what a year for him. Peter, what stood out the most?
It's funny because he wasn't really on my radar last year when he was a rookie. And this year kind of had some games, but they were such a bad team that it was like you're not watching them. And then Thursday night, they come on NFL Network. They're playing the Raiders. They're crosstown rivals. And everyone's attention is to them because it's a Thursday night game, the only show in town. And Nick Mullins is under center for the first time in his career. Cool little story. And George Kittle steals the show with this one-handed grab. And then after the catch, goes the distance. Kittle, wide receiver skills, can play the tight end. He's fighting, gets down to the 5-yard line. But this catch was something special. Really put me on my radar that George Kittle is going to be a game breaker and a special player in this league. Thursday night, national television. They'll go on to win that game. One of the greatest rookie debuts ever for a quarterback had by Nick Mullins, and no shortage of talent on that field. And George Kittle is the guy who stole the show.
You remember him coming out? Like impressions of him? Like
it was all. The story goes they were working out C.J. Beathard, who is his quarterback in college at Iowa. They're like, who's he throwing him? There was not a lot of buzz on George Kittle coming out of college.
That was at an Iowa pro day or a private
workout.
Sometimes the guys who catch the passes shine.
Of course. It's like Dwight Clark working out with Steve Fuller. That's the famous story with the 49ers. Yeah. But like Kittle was not a guy that everyone was talking about come draft time this time 2 years ago.
No one's talking about Mullins either. You put him on the map for us, and then he's balled out. Will Kittle have that same chemistry with Garoppolo?
Yeah, because they did have moments last year against the Colts. Kittle had a bunch of big plays in a clutch game. And then the start of the season, just 3 games. Kittle's a really good player. I think any quarterback can have success.
I feel like Kittle's chemistry is with Shanahan. You know what I mean? He'll use him. He knows what to do.
I'm going to take it to the end of the season. So you showed us the breakout game when the whole world started looking at him. And we went into Week 17, Gronk holding the single-season receiving yards record for his position at tight end. And we all talked about it leading into the last week. Travis Kelce's probably going to break it. It's probably going to happen. And sure, he did break it, but so did George Kittle. And it was on his last catch of the entire season. He was robbed of a record earlier in the year. There was 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this one. What was it? Mullins to Kittle. Of course, that's the way it goes. And he would go 43 yards and this touchdown against the Rams, finishing with 1,377 receiving yards. And he is now, in fact, the record holder for single-season receiving yards at his position.
It's crazy.
It's so
we do highlights on the show. I feel like every week we were doing a highlight, not just of him scoring, like this runaway romp down the field. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, Kelce was like, yes,
Yeah.
And now it's Kittle.
Kittle, it's incredible. You ever have a thing where you really got to go somewhere and it's very important to you, but someone keeps asking you questions and keeping you, especially if it's your job? Sometimes it's our staff members here. But what do you want for your underappreciated? I'll get to you. George Kittle had that after a game this year. It was actually a Niners win, and they did not have a lot of wins. They beat the Seahawks. He has a few catches. But Kittle, as we know, probably a lot of other people know, big fan of the professional wrestling. I mean, more so than most people. Huge fan. He's got tickets right down the street from Levi Stadium to TLC. Now, TLC is not what you're thinking, Nate. It's tables, ladders, and chairs. He's going to that. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Yeah, it's a big event. And they keep asking him, and he's like, dude, I got to go. And this was a great way of handling this awkward press conference when he's got to get to wrestling.
This is from 1998, I'm pretty sure. Big fan. Tables, ladders, and chairs is tonight at the SEP Center, and I will be there. It starts at 5, so you guys are kind of killing me right now. Say again?
Was that big on you in 1998?
I literally just got it about a week ago. I found a guy that sells them old shirts. Really worth it.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks, George.
Look at that, dude.
Richard Sherman's walking right on.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And the guys, was that big for you in 19? Yes, it was big. Obviously, I'm wearing the shirt. I gotta go. And he jumps down the stairs. Totally relate, and I love it. And Nate, can you dovetail that into something else having to do with the squared circle?
And speaking of wrestling, we had him on during the Super Bowl, and he joined us as we kind of did some WWE impressions in Atlanta. Check it out.
Do you smell what the goat is cooking?
That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, NFL! You think the Saints are going to just fade quietly into the night, don't ya? You thought the Superdome and our Saints fans were just going to go say, oh, shucks, so the ref blew the call. Let's go to the Combine and look at next year. No! Can you feel it?
So that's it. We went all the way in because he was a huge fan of WWE. Peter, you believe you
Peter
lost
could not
your
talk
voice?
for 2 weeks after that.
I broke my vocal cord doing
You had to see a specialist.
it. The whole thing.
Rest and all that.
Because of my cheap Macho Man knockoff imitation, which was really fun.
Someone on Twitter did an incredible sidebite of you and Prison Mike from The Office.
From The Office.
Of the Steve Carell with a purple bandana, and it was so funny.
The craziest part to me, you running in isn't scary.
Nope.
You shaking the chair, also not. You throwing Nate off stage. I was worried about the whole situation.
Look at his chemistry, because I know he's going to do that. I was like, all right, let me take a seat to give him room
You didn't
to step
practice
in.
that?
And this guy just grabs me by my shoulders, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I guess we're improving all of a sudden.
No, you roll with anything. I'm not worried about you.
Of course.
That's called committing. The night before in the hotel room, I was cutting up one of my own shirts into red strips so I can tie them on my arm. It's a great shirt, too.
I thought you guys practiced that. Like it was a scene in Fresh Prince with
Right.
them
Nah, I
throwing
just
him off.
grabbed it.
Yeah,
See you later.
Jeffrey.